Hello, everybody. I'm here with Harrison Demchick,
Nope.
author, um, editor, right?
Yes.
Screenplay writer as well.
Yes. All
Awesome.
things.
Fantastic triad of things we're working with. Thank you for joining us to interview for the Greater Lehigh Valley Writers Group for the 2021 conference that will be going on virtually. Definitely appreciate it.
Really, thanks for having me.
Okay, so we'll start off with the interview. What are the things that the topics you will be covering with the conference at the conference?
Generally speaking, I try to give hopefully entertaining offbeat talks on the on certain aspects of the mechanics of writing narrative. In this case, we're going to talk about the intersection between characterization and conflict of tension. We're going to talk about the role of logic in fiction, and we're going to delve into outlines and how outlines incorporate those and all other elements of storytelling.
As an author, who would you consider your inspirations for writing? Because everybody has to start from somewhere, and we all have inspiration. So, who would you consider yours?
So let's see. Different authors from different sources, depending on what I'm actually doing. The authors I grew up loving, Douglas Adams was always my favorite when I was younger, and perpetually, even though it bears fairly little resemblance to what I actually end up writing most of the time. Um, Salman Rushdie ever since high school, which is an unfortunate influence in that you can only feel bad about yourself compared to the writing of Salman Rushdie. Um, it is that is fairly insurmountable. But and then the litany of books on my bookshelf staring at me with judgment, for I have not read them. Um, I love Kurt Vonnegut, and then of course Spider-Man comics, many Spider-Man comics, in particular those written by John Mark DeMatteis. So from a variety of sources that do not actually in any way explain what I write, but I suppose in providing me stories that inspired me to write and create, and then along the way figuring out what my own voice was.
My next question would be, what is one we all have a love of writing and reading and everything, and I guess it would be, what's one trope that is played out to you that you're not necessarily interested in reading anymore, and why?
Um, I don't know. I think any trope can work done if it's done in an interesting way, if it's done for a particular purpose. I don't know. I'm not sure that I have a very good answer to that. You know,
Like, everybody was crazy about Twilight and wizards and stuff. Like, has it ever gotten to a point where you're like, I cannot, even if it is good, like I can't do this anymore? Is there like a trope like that, or?
I don't think I don't think there is. I don't no matter how much something has penetrated the culture, or it's still not. I mean, it's only an issue if I've been constantly reading all of those things and seeing and seeing the same kind of stuff over and over again. And funny enough, even though I am reading through however many unpublished manuscripts uh, a year, they're actually the writers I work with are actually rarely working on the same thing. And
Oh,
I'm working right now on a work of literary fiction, but I've got fantasy on my schedule. I have memoir on my schedule. I have horror and science fiction on my schedule. Um, I just wrapped up a memoir. If I, I've it's I've they're young adult books that we're working on. There's some really wonderfully bizarrely imaginative things. There are things that are more down to earth. As long as I'm continuing to experience a wide variety of writing and what I consume and what I edit, then nothing individually is going to seem played out. Not even vampires, not even if they're sparkly.
What's some advice that you would give, any unsolicited advice that you've never gotten, that you've had to learn from experience from publishing, writing, editing, etc.? What would that be?
You must always set aside the time to write and and keep working on it, and including well beyond the first draft to edit and to revise and to make your work better. Revision, I think, tends to be undervalued when it comes to writing advice much of the time. So much of the focus is on completing the first draft, which is critical, which is a fantastic milestone, but it is in fact, just one point along the line. It's only through getting feedback and through revising and through working toward the very best version of our stories that we that we get where we're actually trying to go. And the comparison I tend to use is that it's like you're working so hard to climb the top of this one mountain, only to realize that there's another equal mountain just behind it, and that's the revision process, and that so many authors don't realize is coming or is so critical and just as difficult as writing that first draft in the first place. I think that is I think that is the most valuable thing, because it's really that willingness to revise and to continue to work after after you reach the end the end of the first draft. That's what really separates the writers from the authors.
My next question would be, how do you deal with negativity about your craft?
I mean, it's always difficult to hear that, to receive negative feedback, because writing is intrinsically personal. It's hard to divorce yourself from that entirely when you know what you have put into it. And it's just, in fact, I'm very often on the other side of that situation, because I'm a developmental editor. I'm the one, writing these massive editorial letters and giving them back to authors to deal with. Not on their own. I always, we have follow-up phone calls. I always aim to be there and help them through it. But I am the bearer of bad news very often.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have room to grow as writers constantly. It's intrinsic to the craft to learn and to get better and to take and to take from negativity that next step. Of course, there's constructive negativity and there's just meanness, and that can be hard to do as well, again, because it is so personal. But the only thing you can do, and the only thing you have full control over, as an author, you can't control that kind of feedback. You can't control how or if your work gets out there or marketing or anything like that, but you can control the quality of your work, and you can keep writing. So I think the only truly healthy response to negativity is to keep working and to continue to grow and continue to create the things you want to create, because that is entirely within your hands.
I guess my next question would be, if you could meet any writer from history, we won't even make it a writer. This is you. We don't even have to make it a writer. This is you. If you can meet anybody from any time in the world, any place, anything, even if it's a fake person, it could be freaking Scooby-Doo, somebody that you really believe in to give you good advice about life or something, who would it be and why?
I don't know. I'm pretty introverted. I don't know if I want to meet anybody. Right? I mean, it's always the case when it comes to writers or whatever that I admire, that that the fact that I am deeply inspired by their work has never been accompanied by and I wish I could meet them.
That's smart.
It's not something I've consider in terms of smart or not. It's just I always feel like that would be awkward as meaning anybody is, and it should be different in the world of fiction. But as I think through the practicalities, would I love to meet Spider-Man? Of course I would. Spider-Man's fantastic. Would we have a good conversation? No, I wouldn't say a word.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harrison Demchick, for your advice and talking to you. And I can't wait to hear you speak at the conference. It's going to be amazing.
I'm looking forward to it for more than a year. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Hi. I'm like in a Barbie or a castle house here.
Yeah, my goodness.
I'm at my girlfriend's house. I went skiing at Shawnee or snowboarding, and I wasn't going to make this on time. So I went to my girlfriend's house, and this is her daughter's. Like,
Oh, wow.
So I feel like royalty interviewing you.